Well, come on inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
And of course, we talking about some more George Pickens. Is y'all crazy? Are y'all crazy? Of course, we listening. I say listening. Of course, y'all here to listen to me talk about some more George Pickens. But the problem is, Cowboys hadn't made a move like this in a long time. It's been a while. So, of course, we got to come together and speak on it a little bit. How y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? Love y'all to pieces. Hope everything's straight out there with everybody. We ain't talking about nothing else. Ain't nothing else going on. Hope everything. Got a little work to do here. A little bit of stuff we got to do. I mentioned to you a little bit earlier, this is not the time to stop talking about George. You know what I'm saying? This ain't really the time to stop talking about George Pickens, If anything, we need to double up, triple up. That's what we're going to do here today. Of course, the more you dive into the George Pickens in Dallas situation, the better it feels, the better it sounds, and the more it makes sense on our end. Extend that young man now. You know what I'm saying? You can, I'm signing Tyler Smith. I'm signing Micah Parsons, and I'm re-signing George Pickens. I'm getting it done. If I got to move on from one of them corners, and ain't nobody else from these next few draft classes good enough to take no money from me, we should have a surplus of money sitting around considering how bad we've drafted the past couple of years. Oh, chat, we should be straight. Sam Williams ain't getting no money from nobody. I ain't got to worry about that. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, first and foremost, I want to say appreciate you to Bleach Report. Thank you. Appreciate everybody for tapping into Bleach Report. Download the app if you haven't. You're watching right now, so you're probably watching. You probably downloaded it already. But if you got a second phone, a second cellular device, download it on there. Tell a friend to download it. Tell your uncle and your auntie and them. NFL Draft, NFL, Dallas Cowboys. Those are the three tabs you need to tap into, or just follow Voch Lombardi on his own. Man, I tell you what, man, George Pickens got a chance to talk to the media the other day. Right around 2:00. Now, they didn't give everybody access to this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Voch found it. Or at least I found it in bits and pieces. I found it broken up a little bit, but it's okay because I spliced it together for your viewing pleasure. I got a chance to listen to George Pickens speak. You know something crazy? If you listen to Pittsburgh Steelers fans, right, and their perception of George Pickens and what he's done so far, you would believe that George Pickens sounds like a boogity. You know what I'm saying? They're selling you on this idea that George Pickens is not a good guy. You would think he was the Riddler or the Joker or Frieza. Some pure antagonist the way the Pittsburgh Steelers talk about George Pickens and who he is. I got a chance to listen to George Pickens, man. He sounds like a rational human. Now, most maniacs I've ever met in my life all started off sounding like rational humans. I'm going to let it play. Every maniac I know starts off sounding like a rational human. Until they don't sound like rational humans anymore. We'll play a few of these George Pickens clips, and then we'll get into some other talking points that maybe I didn't get into on my first George Pickens show. Let me turn the audio up for y'all. Got a couple of clips here, and I do mean to, from George Pickens. The media basically asked George Pickens about Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. This first clip, he was talking about Dak Prescott. Peep this out.
I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to play with Dak. As far as like roles and stuff like that, I'm just here to work. Whatever role finds me best is where I'm gonna find myself. Yeah, that was one of the first guys that I definitely contacted with was Dak. He just, just watching this game over the years, he's a very prolific QB and smart QB at that. So I'm just glad to be working with him.
Prolific QB, smart QB, one of them guys. Man, I'm happy to be working with him. Now listen, you never know a maniac is a maniac until he's not one. That's only fair, ladies and gentlemen. That's only fair. But hear me out. That sounds like a young man with a lot of awareness. And he ain't poo-poo on nobody else. Look, see, Pittsburgh Steelers fans have you thinking that George Pickens is so bad that on this conference call, he was finna come up here and be like, man, look, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers as an organization, a record label, and as a crew. Yeah, you would believe that that's how Pickens was gonna get down on you. He kept it cowboy, which I give him credit for. He kept it cowboy. He didn't disparage anybody else like they thought he was going to do, but he gave props to his quarterback. But just him giving props to Dak Prescott, it said a little bit to me about his past situation. I just want to play it again.
I'm grateful, like I said, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to play with Dak. As far as like roles and stuff like that, I'm just here to work. Whatever role finds me best is where I'm gonna find myself. Yeah, that was one of the first guys that I definitely contacted with was Dak. He just, just watching this game over the years, he's a very prolific QB and smart QB at that. So I'm just glad to be working with him.
Man, I called Dak first. Wait a minute, I ain't even the right button. That ain't even the button I want to hit. Bro, I called Dak first.
Did you hear what I said?
I called him first. Hey, man, happy to be here. Thank you for saving me. Grateful. I'm a wide receiver. I watch film on defense. I bet I found some time to watch some Dak Prescott film. Prolific quarterback. You can hear in that young man's voice, ladies and gentlemen that's listening to me right now, you can hear in that young man's voice that he's aware of the quarterbacks that he's played with. You can hear it in his voice. Oh, man, Dak's prolific. I reached out. You can hear it in his voice. Dak is the best quarterback he's ever caught. He's ever gonna catch passes from. Well, I can't say going because I don't know what team he's gonna go to next. But up to this point, best quarterback. I think he understands that, and he ain't poo-poo on nobody else. I'm doing the poo-pooing. Mason Rudolph ain't good. I'll do the poo-pooing. But man, this ain't no situation where George Pickens is confused about who the man is over here. He know about Voch. Voch gets busy here. And I think that's even better for his relationship because, if it's at any time he needs somebody he can go to kind of keep him chill a little bit, hey, go to Voch. Voch got you. And that further, just makes me feel like, I don't want to say affirm, but it further makes me feel like a lot of these outbursts was simply through frustration. I don't think that, he may have been a knucklehead young kid, but I don't think they were outbursts via, he might be crazy. I don't know. Look, I can't speak for the outbursts. I can't speak for him. I can't speak for him, but it at least makes me feel like those outbursts had to do with winning football games. How about this second clip where he's talking about CeeDee Lamb? This clip ain't that long at all, but listen.
He is a super dynamic receiver, super dynamic person, player. I just feel like schematically you can't, you won't be able to double everybody. So that'd be a great thing for me and him.
You can't double everybody, man. What you gonna do? You can't just double. You ain't gonna leave no safeties over there. You're not gonna leave no safeties over there. Why would you do that? Oh, that ain't smart at all. That ain't player. That ain't play at all. You just gonna look, bro. There's only so much you could do. I was talking to my guy Will Still about this. And the defenses that kind of get us are the too high, the Fangio Jones, whether it be man or zone. And they kind of sit on the underneath stuff. And they make it to where they take a lot of the zone concepts that you're trying to pull off. And they force you, the Cowboys, right? They force the Cowboys to try to beat them in man. The problem is the Cowboys don't have the talent, or they haven't had the talent or the firepower to try to beat somebody in man. I'll give you an example. You remember the Green Bay Packers game a couple years ago for the playoffs. And we were just like, hey, bro, like, why can't anybody get open? Remember that feeling? Remember that conversation we had? It was just this idea, this thought. Right, like, damn, dog, can't nobody get open by themselves? I mean, CeeDee was the main guy, but they would float bodies around him. To George Pickens' point, they're gonna try to cut some of that out. They'll float bodies around him to kind of attempt to take him out the game, but everybody else had to find a way to beat one-on-one coverage, and they could not. Now, the head coach was making all the wide receivers run upfield and turn around. He tried to make them do that. There was an attempt made. You know what I'm saying? But those dudes weren't going to beat one-on-one coverage by themselves. Those dudes simply were not going to beat one-on-one coverage by themselves. They just weren't. So here we are with this, right? Say we're back in that Green Bay Packers game. And when we're in zone coverage, I mean, Dak can find a way to, slice through zone coverage. I mean, he does that, right? But when they sit guys on the sticks and they go man here or there and they make you defeat the one-on-one, back in the day, it was Brandon Cooks trying to run through Jair Alexander. Y'all remember that? They took Lamb away and they made Brandon Cooks and Jalen Tolbert try to run through Jair Alexander, and it just didn't work. It just simply didn't work. We didn't have the talent or the firepower to properly pull that plan off. I wish you would try that with George Pickens. Another conversation I was having with my guy Will Steele. Hey, look, if you nosy, you in luck. Because, boy, if you ever wonder what me and Will Steele talk about when y'all ain't around, we talked about this right here. So if you nosy, come to the front of the class. But we was talking about wide receiver groups, right? Which wide receiver team would y'all rather have, or which group of receivers would you rather have? The Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, or the young CeeDee Lamb, or CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, I don't know, Jalen Tolbert, Mingo, I don't know. Pick one. Pick one. And my idea of it is, I know one of those had three guys that we like, right? Gallup, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. But I think I'm going to take the group with two. I'm going to take the CeeDee Lamb and the George Pickens group, and I'll tell you why. I'm getting my war card ready, guys. I've been playing a bunch. The Cowboys haven't had a wide receiver tandem / group like this, where they had two superstars in their prime at the same time. Chat, y'all need to listen to me, man. We just talking. Amari Cooper, when he was in his prime, he was still dealing with his plantar fasciitis. And he'll still disappear in road games. It is what it is. But Amari Cooper, when he was in his prime, Michael Gallup was like cool, right? Michael Gallup was a good player. He wasn't these guys, but Michael Gallup in his prime and Amari Cooper in their prime. Then you had CeeDee as a young boy, who's good. CeeDee is a good receiver as a rookie, but it's different. And that group of three never really played together in the first place. Even if you go back to Dez and Miles Austin, right? Miles was in his prime and Dez was a young boy. Miles went away. Dez became big homie. Then you got Terrence Williams there. Terrence is cool, but he's no 1B. You're finally in a situation where you got a wide receiver 1A and a wide receiver 1B where they both are in their primes at the same damn time. That's what's going to make this group special. CeeDee Lamb is an evolved presence right now. George Pickens is an evolved wide receiver right now. Like, he's at the top of his game right this second. And now you compound that with Dak Prescott, who is as experienced of a passer as it can get right this second. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is about to be different. You could just write me off and say I'm just kind of hyping y'all up a little bit all you want to. I understand. But you can't knock me for feeling like this different, because when's the last time we've made an acquisition like this? When's the last time we've made an acquisition like this? You tell me, I'll wait. This don't happen all the time, bro. So, and this goes back to my other point about Cowboy fans worried about what happens after Pickens and what happens with the 3rd round pick. Bro, don't worry about that. Just be a fan. Just enjoy this year. If you don't do nothing else, just enjoy this year. Man, I can't wait. And if you Jalen Tobin and Jonathan Mingo, man, no disrespect to y'all, but when we 11 personnel, one of y'all got to be on the field, one of y'all got to be over on the sideline. It just is what it is. And y'all gonna be fighting for your life. I don't think Kevontae Turpin's not a part of Tobin and Mingo's wide receiver fight. He's not. Turpin is in a world on his own. He's the gadgety, put me anywhere guy, jet sweep, reverse, running back, whatever, deep ball. Let me be scat gadgety dude. He could live there. Jalen Brooks and Ryan Flournoy are in some deep doo-doo, and I hope they recognize the moment. Camp gonna be lit, man. We got Dak being back healthy. Joe Milton is the backup guy now, which should be explosive. We got some running backs that can run around. Joe Milton's gonna be wide receiver 1B for you. On top of CeeDee Lamb kicking ass over there. Jake Ferguson should be back. I think that's nice. Your O-line's gangsters again. I can't wait to see what that's hitting on. And then you got Donovan Easy and Savon Ravel holding it down for the rookies on the other side. Dante Fowler's back. Sam Williams coming off an injury. If you're going to go to a camp, this is the one to go to. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. Love y'all to pieces. Next time, next week, we're going to get back into the draft picks. We've had our fun breaking down George Pickens and whatnot, so we're going to get back into the draft picks starting next week. We're going to start with Jade on Blue. That's going to be at Monday, because I go live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Central. You understand what I'm saying? Download the Bleacher Report app. Cowboy tab, NFL tab, and NFL draft tab. All right? I love y'all two pieces. Y'all hold it down for the Dovsky Wojski Piece of Whiskey. Until next time.